Hi, folks. This is Peter Boykin, and this is hashtag Go Right. And this is very unpopular opinion because the emperor wears nose clothes, but people won't realize it. And like a friend of mine, Suzanne, who put a meme up about a different situation she's been dealing with, I feel like the person standing within a crowd saying, "You're wrong," when there's so many people who think they're right.
I'm right. What if you're wrong, though? I'm right. I'm right. I'm right.
We're going to explore that, why there needs to be separation of church and state, and why people like Mark Robinson, our Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, needs to understand that, and many others. And I'm going to explain some things I've already posted. I will be right back after our identification of this program.
Hi, my name is Peter Boykin, founder of Gays for Trump and the hashtag Go Right movement, and I'm your host. Stay tuned. Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag Go Right. Share this right now. Time to go right.
This is program number 2557, heard in the true story of Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson.
It's the true story of Mark Robinson right now on Unshackled.
So I recently just put out an article. It was called "Mark Robinson Will Further Divide the Republican Party of Trump," and he does not have my vote. I gathered a lot of information from WRAL and some other places, and I've published things before, and I've already gotten some feedback from it, some nasty comments, because people absolutely love this guy. Not exactly sure. Then again, I kind of do. Let me give you a little backstory. Both me and Mark Robinson shared GOPs in Guilford County when I was very active and I was running. Mark Robinson at the time supported me and came to my rallies. But was he really supporting me? Or was he just trying to get a name for himself? I literally had Ted Budd sit down to Mark Robinson because I said, "Mark Robinson, you should run for office with the clout you have." And then he did. But then his whole character changed. So Mark Robinson will further divide the Republican Party of Trump, and he does not have my vote. As I wrote, Mark Robinson would ban same-sex marriage and reshape how public school children are taught. There are some things that Mark Robinson and I can agree on, but although I like to quote the whole Ronald Reagan about, 80% my friend, 20% my foe doesn't make you my enemy, the problem is Mark Robinson hits that 81% plus, and it doesn't work for me. Now, asked if he'd support a law defining marriages between one man and one woman, Robinson replied, "Personally, do I believe that? Yes. Do I think that a strong and healthy debate should go into that to make it a law? Absolutely. But that's the scary part. He believes Christians are called to be led by men, and that women have failed in their effort to talk him into submission, despite two of the most influential people in his life being women, his wife and his late mother. And I absolutely love his wife, so I have no problem with her at all. And I used to respect Mark Robinson, but I don't now. Mark Robinson routinely chastised the LGBTQ community in a generalization, but he insists he defends their rights as the state's top Republican executive householder. I don't believe that, because he spends every weekend, they claim he can have his personal religion, but he spends every weekend going to pulpit after pulpit, church after church, with his power of lieutenant governor, preaching against LGBT people, saying we'll all burn in the lake of fire, saying we're worthless, etc., etc. How can you claim to defend us, yet you want to take our rights away, and you think we're all demons and pedophiles, etc., etc.? And you say it, and you qualify it over and over again. His quote is, "My views on homosexuality or LGBTQ things, those things are personal. If they're personal, then why are you telling everybody? They're not very personal when you use a pulpit to discuss this." Quote, "My religious perspective on those things are guaranteed to me under the First Amendment." Okay, I agree with that. You have the freedom of speech and religion. Mark, you do. But when the lieutenant governor has a high position in this state, and his egging on is no different than, say, Maxine Waters, who egged on people to fight, the 45s, the Trump people. When somebody goes out of their way to attack LGBT people in North Carolina, and it comes from the rhetoric of somebody like Mark Robinson, then it goes beyond the First Amendment, and it goes to yelling fire in a crowded room. He says, "I would say that to anybody. When my personal religious opinions cross over into my office and cross over into legislation or law that violates someone's constitutional right, that is when we should have an issue." But that's not what's going on, Mark. You will use your personal to run you and run what you want to run the state. And we'll go over about the separation of state after I get off this subject. Now, here's a quote. It says, "You can't just say I have an extreme view, but it doesn't affect my job," said Josh Stein, North Carolina's Democratic Attorney General, who is seen as the likely opponent to Robinson in a possible 2024 governor's race. Quote, "I mean, what we do as public officials is execute on those positions and we advocate for them." He's drawing a distinction that is not real. And shame on you, Mark Robinson, when I have to agree with a Democrat. Shame on you. Now, conservative observers see Robinson's anti-LGBTQ views as a political liability, and they are. Kyle Labucki, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, who's the president of the North Carolina chapter of Log Cabin Republicans. Hey, in Log Cabin Republicans, we need to get a little bit more active here in North Carolina, or I'm going to have to start pushing the gay conservatives of North Carolina. I know you're in Charlotte, but we need some more action. We haven't posted anything since June, so it's time to get something going, okay? A group of LGBT conservatives said Robinson is just behind the times. He cited a bipartisan effort in the U.S. Senate to pass legislation that legalized same-sex marriage and says Robinson's views are out of step with GOP's efforts to be more inclusive. Remember, there was 47 Republicans who voted for that. It was the ensure the sanctity of gay marriage and interracial marriage, and only 47 Republicans signed for it. And in fact, they postponed the other event to solidify it till after the election, because I guess a lot of Republicans were afraid if they voted yes, that somehow their base would vote no in their election. Which goes to show something about politicians not understanding their base, or that our base really needs a refresher course. Now, Kyle said, any candidate who is going to focus on issues that are divisive, such as trying to regurgitate, marriage equality, either rhetorically or advocate for a law that does so, is not going to win. They put a statement out. It's posted in the article. Robinson's opinions on gay marriage are far from the only view that's out of touch with his own party.
Thank you for enjoying part 1. Look out for part 2.
It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at goright.us and gorightnews.com. It is time for the Great American Revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, a part of GoRightNews.com and a part of the Go Right Network.
As an openly gay Christian and Republican, it's safe for me to say that Mark Robinson will not be getting my vote. Robin's opinions on gay marriage are far from the only view that's out of touch with his own party.
Heard in the true story of Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson.
It's the true story of Mark Robinson.
Hi, my name is Peter Boykin, founder of Gays for Trump and the hashtag #GoRight movement, and I'm your host. Stay tuned. Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag #GoRight. Share this right now. Time to go right.
Because Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson shouldn't be elected to any public office. Robin's opinions on gay marriage are far from the only view that's out of touch with his own party. If elected, he'd begin behind measures that outlaw abortion in all cases. That's scary, folks, because we deal with a constitutional crisis when it comes to the issue of abortion. I would absolutely love abortion to never exist, just as much as I would love the atomic bomb to never exist. But the cat is out of the bag. And when we have to think about people having their constitutional rights, their bodies, we just thought about that. We just said we don't want to take a vaccine. My body, my choice. So we have to actually give women constitutional right over their body. But to a point, folks. Because remember, trust the science. So the science says at a certain point, even though I understand people believe conception is at birth, if that would be sane, then when you release your seed, when you get happy with yourself, that would be conception as well, right? Would that be spilling seed? Because I think the Bible talks about that. So we have to worry about it. So there's a 20-week ban here in North Carolina. I think that's probably a little bit too much, but we have to worry about some politicians saying that even people who have rape or incest can't have an abortion, and that's an issue. But that's a big issue to worry about. Now, while Robinson personally opposes abortion in all cases, he said he would likely get in the way of a bill that allowed for abortion in cases where a woman's life is at stake and she is a victim of rape and incest. That's scary as well. The sad thing is, he participated in an abortion about 32 years ago with his current wife. Again, love his wife. I'm sure she doesn't like what happened, and they would probably take it over and not have the abortion, but it happened. As an openly gay Christian and Republican, it's safe for me to say that Mark Robinson will not be getting my vote. If you want more proof, I wrote an article previously that says, are Mark Robinson's controversial generalization remarks in church good for Trump's GOP? They're not. There's video proof that will show you exactly what he states. And if you're not of the LGBT, I understand that you don't understand. And a lot of you will say mean and nasty things because you will go and to the ride or die for Mark Robinson.
Let's get down to brass tacks. What is the purpose of homosexuality? What does it create? We're in church right now, and we talking about church stuff, and we are talking about God stuff. And I'm asking you, what purpose? If homosexuality is of God, what purpose does it serve? What does it make? What does it create? It creates nothing. Now, I know somebody probably called me a homophobe or say I don't like gay people, but I don't care what anybody thinks. That get mad at me if you want to. Because I don't want to have to explain to my grandkids why two men are kissing. You know, child got no business seeing no two men kiss. If they did, God would have made it that way. He didn't. Everything that God made serves a purpose. I don't care how ugly it is. Let's get a little ugly. I want you to think about what the cows leave behind. It don't get no uglier than that. But you think about what can be done with what the cow leaves behind. Why is the grass in that cow pasture so green? Why is it so lush? Could it be that ugly stuff the cow left behind? See, God created that. He made that for a purpose. Everything that God made, from the foul odor of what the cow left behind, to the decaying body of every living creature, to the maggots that eat those dead bodies, to the flies that fly around what the cow left. God made all those things for a purpose. Will somebody please explain to me the purpose of homosexuality? Somebody asked me in the classroom one time, we were talking about it, and they said, this fellow was a homosexual, looked at me and said, so you think your wife and you think your heterosexual relationship is superior to my husband and our homosexual relationship? Yes! He said, I'd like for you to explain that. And so I did. Let's look at it this way. Gay couple, straight couple, dark room. 9 months later, gay couple, 2 people. 9 months later, heterosexual, 3 people. These people are superior because they can do something these people can't do. Because that's the way God created it to be. And I'm tired of this society trying to tell me it's not so. Society has completely purged God from the building and from the equation. And because of it, we're headed down into a rabbit hole that's going to lead us to something we can't even imagine. God destroyed a society because of its immorality. And let's get this straight. In this country, we don't have a homosexual issue. That's just a tool of the devil to continue to divide us and lead us into immorality. Because that's the problem that we have. Because we purge God from society. We have a morality problem. You see, once upon a time, I had a morality problem. And I had to look in the mirror and admit it and change my ways. And it's time for America to do the same thing.
Thank you for enjoying part 2 of this story. Stay tuned for the conclusion.
It is a dangerous, dangerous thing for someone like Mark Robinson and others to bring religion the way that they do into politics and taking the rights away from people. But when they bring religion into politics, that's where the problem is.
I didn't tell you you don't have the right to be a homosexual. Let's get this straight, because I know Right Wing Watch is going to play this. Play this part too. In America, you have the right to be a homosexual. And as an elected official, I have a duty to protect your constitutional rights. And I will. But we're in church right now. And we talking about church stuff. And we are talking about God stuff. And I'm asking you, what purpose? If homosexuality is of God, what purpose does it serve? What does it make? What does it create? It creates nothing.
There's video proof that will show you exactly what he states. And if you're not of the LGBT, I understand that you don't understand. And a lot of you will say mean and nasty things because you will go and to the ride or die for Mark Robinson. But here's my segue.
Hi, my name is Peter Boykin, founder of Gays for Trump and the hashtag GoRight movement, and I'm your host. Stay tuned. Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag GoRight. Share this right now. Time to go right.
Many in the Republican Party need to do less concentration on the fringe social hotbed never-ending issues, aka gay marriage, abortion, etc. Meanwhile, we're losing our gun rights, our constitutional rights. Most of these people's views spit in the wind against our rights as we the people, and are in fact unpatriotic, unconstitutional, and it's certainly not promoting the Republic. This is destroying the Republican Party, and its effects are seen as people leave the party to become unaffiliated. Remember the whole hashtag walkaway my friend Brandon Straka talked about? They talked about the extremism in the Democratic Party, the craziness in the Democratic Party. That hashtag walkaway is also happening in the Republican Party. Here in North Carolina, the unaffiliated voters now outweigh and outnumber Republicans and Democrats. It's a new dawn. It's a new era. It's like somebody said, we're losing Christians. I don't think we're losing Christians. I think that more people are just not identifying as Christian, but still are. Same thing as Republicans. But again, this is destroying the Republican Party. What's been going on? It's another example of the separation of church and state, which is highly needed to be practiced, as it undermines our great experiment, which is the melting pot of what makes the United States of America so different and great. The moment someone feels that their opinion, our religion, our motives is best for everyone else without considering the opinions of the rest of our great republic, that's when our nation, as it is intended, or was intended, dies. So Mark Robinson and others, time for you to figure that out. We are one nation under God, yet many of different religions and daily creeds believe in, quote, God. And our forefathers and signers of this country absolutely did not follow one form of religion in this country's founding. In fact, as I've stated many times, our Constitution gives us the right of freedom of religion and freedom from religion. And by history, this means a state ran by religion. It's absolutely off limits. I understand many will disagree, as they will always place their religion before government. But remember, render unto Caesar is the beginning of a phrase attributed to Jesus in the Synoptic Gospels that reads in full, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. For more info over the overall subject of those, there is a Freedom Forum Institute fact sheet about the First Amendment. Says nothing about separation of church and state, or a wall of separation between church and state. Where did this idea come from? Is it really true? Going into this, the separation of church and state is a philosophical, jurisprudential concept of defining political distance in the relationship between religious organizations and the state. Although the words separation of church and state do not appear in the First Amendment, the Establishment Clause was intended to separate church from state. In the 20th century, the U.S. Supreme Court applied the Establishment Clause to the states through the 14th Amendment. Today, The Establishment Clause prohibits all levels of government from either advancing or inhibiting religion. The Establishment Clause separates church from state, but not religion from politics or public life. Individual citizens, like Mark Robinson, though, are free to bring their religious convictions into the public arena. But the government is prohibited from favoring one religious view over another, or even favoring religion over non-religion, which is another reason why it is a dangerous thing for someone like Mark Robinson and others to bring religion the way that they do into politics and taking the rights away from people, as in marriage, which is a legal marriage, not a religious marriage. That's not the argument. Never was. But when they bring religion into politics, that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. A lot of pondering, a lot of thinking. And I know, again, this is not popular in this state. Some people would call it political suicide to talk against our great, all-knowing wizard behind the curtain, Mark Robinson, a big presence in North Carolina. But I will not sit here or stand here and let someone like Mark, who is absolutely the opposite of Donald Trump, even if Donald Trump comes out and endorses Mark Robinson, because as much as Donald Trump is great, he doesn't get all the information. He's a busy man. Someone tells him, endorse this person, or blah, blah, blah. You want a winner. It doesn't mean he's good. Vote for people who are good for our nation. Vote for people who are good for our locality. Vote for people who are good for our state. Mark Robinson does not have my vote. People who would bring their fullness of their cross of religion and politics. As much as I'm a Christian, I'm a gay Christian, I'm I'm conservative. I know how to keep things separate. I know what we the people mean, and I know what rights we have under the Constitution. God bless everybody. Please share this, and thanks for listening. And remember, it's time to go right, okay? We must go right to make America great.
It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at GoRight.us and GoRightNews.com. It is time for the Great American Revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, a part of Go Right.